Hi, how are you, Neena?
Thank you.
Thank you. So happy that you could join, that you can talk to us about this such an important issue. I call this the elephant in the room because that's what it is. No one wants to talk about mental health. No one wants to talk about a problem they have. Everyone wants to just say, "Hi, how are you?" And that's it. How are you should really mean something more profound. It should be like, "How are you really?" But it's sad that we take that statement so lightly, and especially in today's time where we can really use some weightage on that statement. Why aren't we asking these questions a lot more? Why aren't we probing into each other's life a little bit more? you know um anyway, I'm happy you took out time and you're talking to us about your son today. I will let you explain what had happened. So, Nina, what had happened to your son?
Actually, this is the. I'm so happy you're covering him at this time because we lost our son Neil Grover one day before Thanksgiving,
Oh,
November 25th in 1998.
oh my God.
So on November 24th, I was like the best mom raising up two kids and involved in community. I try to do everything good as American citizen and still carrying Indian values. And certainly my life changed.
Wow.
My son was a second year medical student. You can see his picture, Neil Grover,
That's
and very happy, handsome, and
very
brilliant.
boy.
And then we never had a clue. It was the UMass Medical School, and they called me that, can you come to the school, because I thought that he had flu or he got dehydrated, but never thought that Neil can commit suicide.
So they called you to the school, and this happened on his campus?
Happened in his campus, in his host, and he was sharing with other doctors,
Mhm.
three other physicians, going to be physicians, and they had rented a house, and so we lost him. Mhm.
That's so sad. Um, did he leave anything back at the hostel? Did he any letter, any something that said why he did that?
You know, now I've gone through so much. So the letters which they write, 40% of the people don't write. And when they write, they don't tell the real story.
Right, right.
But you will never know it. So, we grew up a lot with this one because I had a daughter and I was a bank manager and I had to make my living.
Mhm.
It was very hard. And the only thing in Neil's case, I thought that it's a very secretive illness. Even if he had it, I didn't know what happened to him.
Mhm.
So I think suicide has so much stigma attached, and I think he wrote in the letter also
Yes.
that my goal was to reduce the stigma and make people aware of this illness. And I'm talking about 1998. So
Uh-huh.
then I went into the computer to see if there's a walk, and I realized that there's no walk in United States on suicide prevention, heart, lung, and I'm very happy they're doing it.
Mhm.
But I
That's
realized
probably the stigma attached to it because this is such a taboo topic,
taboo
and
talk
nobody wants to address that they have a problem. They think, oh,
problem.
if you talk to a shrink or if you have depression or anxiety, it's something to hide. That's why when we go to a psychiatrist and we take these prescription medicines, we hide them. It's
Definitely.
like, you know, so what if you have a problem? I think it's time to come out and talk about it and address it. It's so important, the importance that we give to our faces, to the way we look, to the way we dress, our physical fitness. We don't do that enough to our mental health, which is so important, especially in the pandemic today. And that's why I started these interviews at this time because there's so many people now suffering. And like you said, there isn't even that much awareness where there was a walk or something dedicated to the cause. So please tell
Um,
them.
I'm so happy you're covering, because that was my thing, that communication and bringing suicide to the people, that
Yeah,
suicide can happen and it is preventable. You know,
sure.
if the 100 people are trying to commit suicide, 96% people can be saved by
Wow.
prevention, by
Yes,
intervention. And
yes.
that intervening at the right time is very important. And especially like in, right now and with coronavirus, make sure your loved ones, you're talking about it. And there's no harm in asking, I hope, are you suicidal? There is nothing wrong in asking.
Hmm.
And so it is a
So,
very tough thing, but thanks
yes.
for you bringing this awareness. So, in fact, the first walk we started was in 2001, and it was very hard to start. It was a community walk
Yeah.
because nobody will give me a place. Firstly, I lost a child, and finances and the walk, and they will give me a place, and there are no restrooms. So ultimately, Jewish community center in our community gave me the hall, and I didn't expect too many people, but 230 people showed up. And
Wow.
then the national level, actually, American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. Without this, we couldn't spread it, because I'm a local person. But
Yeah.
with the help of mothers, we started. Luckily, they liked our model, and then they changed in their own national way, and now it's called Out of the Darkness Walk. It's more and almost in 360 cities, but it's a lot of people's efforts. It's just I started, but many, many others have brought this to this extent. When I lost Neil, uh, you know, we'd be sitting in a party, and I knew as soon as I left, they'll be talking about, she had a son whom she lost with suicide. But we have to have a big courage to face it.
Yeah.
Then I couldn't have survived. In fact, even my relatives said that, why didn't you say he was murdered? I said, no, I can't. I
Gosh.
have, that's true.
Cover this up. Like,
I know, cover it up. Suicide has so much taboo, like you were saying.
oh my God. That is horrible. I'm so sorry that you had to hear that.
No, but I didn't do it. Right now I said, it's the truth is that he died with suicide, and I have
Yeah.
to face it.
Yes, yes, yes. It's so important to come out, to be truthful about your experiences, about maybe you could, this is how we can help others. If we hide it, if we shrug it under the carpet, then how are we going to help another Indian? And what's the point? If we don't talk about something, how are we going to find a solution to it? This is
Like one time for breast cancer, we never wanted to, we women used to hide. And now there's so many solutions to breast cancer. Same way, my goal was to make
Nina, do you
awareness.
see in the Indian community itself a problem that, we don't like to address it even more than even like, it's already such a big topic that nobody wants to talk about, and everyone shies away from mental health to talk about it. But in the Indian society, it's even more so. We don't even talk about, sex with our parents. We don't talk about anything. So imagine something like, oh, I'm depressed. They're never going to say it. Or I need help. I'm feeling a lot of anxiety. They're not going to say it. So do you
Yeah.
think it's a community issue? Do you think it's what we're taught?
Actually, okay, I've been in America a long time. It's Indian community, and also in our other communities, even non-Indian communities,
Sure,
even
sure.
churches, even in our, even the people who are doctors, if they are depressed, they hide,
Yeah,
because they may lose their practice.
right.
So until we talk like this, until we have seminars and coaching, that is a illness which is preventable. And
Yes.
So
And how do you think, from your experience and to share with the world, what do you think are the, how could we intervene? What can we do? Since you have had this experience, what would you say to someone that is maybe has a loved one that needs to be taken out to? How would you say, what are these intervening measures that you would take?
the first thing is, if somebody is really suicidal, they are, at that time, best is not to give them a big speech.
Yeah, we all
Just
love to lecture, right? We all love to teach.
lectures.
Yeah,
Sit with them and listen for hours and hours and hours. Don't give any opinion. And I'm not bragging, but truly, I know at least 3 or 4 people. I coach the mothers and the parents, and they save their kids. And
amazing.
you know, and also, just open discussion, like you were saying, that depression is preventable too. People get involved with the walk which I have started. It has become not only awareness, it has also helped the
Mhm.
families to reduce their grief, and they
Yes,
are teaching their grandkids. Like my grandkids say, he wrote an article saying that, if I'm sad, I will tell somebody.
yeah.
So,
That's good. That's great. I mean, look, it always starts with the youngsters, with the youth. If we can instill those kind of qualities, where we tell them, please, it's completely. You have to be honest to yourself. You have to be honest to your own emotions. That's number one. That is key. What is the point of hiding it? You will never get a solution. So
and
just.
from 1998 to this point,
Mhm.
there is a lot of things have happened. I'm talking about 20, 22 years back.
Yeah,
It was very hard. There was no newspaper. Nobody covered us. We were in one newspaper, a small title,
yeah,
and then we almost had to beg the media to come and cover us. But now the same thing is, we get channel 40, channel 22, and that's my happiness. Is not so much the money collected, it's
yeah,
just that somebody's watching any awareness, and they think depression, and they are thinking to end their life. There is a hope.
yeah.
And then we give, like, we have uh, we give some cards to the people, which shows suicide prevention symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a hotline. I don't know if you can see, 1-800-273-TALK.
Okay, wonderful. 1-800-273-TALK. So that's the suicide prevention hotline.
And
Thank you.
it is open 24 hours, and my daughter has helped there. And she's a physician now, but she took out time and helped in this line.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. Doing all these selfless things that you're doing, going on the hotline. Um, I'm sure if someone does want to reach out, they probably will. At least you're providing the platform for them to come out and make people aware of such a grave issue. I'm now making a movie between mountains. It covers the topic of suicide. And so I thought to myself, I said, there must be so many people that are feeling what my character was feeling in the movie. Um, like these are real life stories that I could probably pick up. And that's why I decided to reach out to some people that knew some people that knew some people. And you won't believe it. Within a matter of days, I got people that were calling in and telling me that this has happened to my son or this has happened to my friend. I've lost it. And I'm thinking, so much of this is prevalent in our society, yet nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it.
There's definitely an improvement in talking. Like, you're doing a movie, you're bringing the topic.
Yes.
20 years back, I'm older than you. I can see the improvement, and we will find people. hopefully the statistics will show that awareness, talking to the people, just like
But
kind words.
but even now, 800,000 suicides every year.
uh,
That's 40, 40 every 40 seconds.
Suicide. That's right.
That's alarming. That is an alarming statistic.
And also, it's least talked. And one thing else I wanted to say that after this, when this happened, and when we started the walk, so many of my own friends who were hiding the suicide of their brother or their child came and said, Nina, you're so courageous that you brought it up. People, for years, we had an incident. One woman, she used to come to our grief sessions. She lost her grandmother at the age of 52 with suicide. Then she
Oh,
lost her mother at the age of 52.
oh my goodness.
Then when she came to us, we didn't understand, but she was going to be 53. And she told me, Nina, can you help me? I said, of course. So now she's lived like, another 10 years, she's living. But, it became like a mother, grandmother, mother, and she thought that she will also die. But she's living because she talked about it. She talked the counseling and she went to the doctor, took medicine, I think so. So,
So the grandmother, the mother, both.
both.
That's astounding. That's but did she ever tell you the reason as to what happened?
Suicide is a very, very secretive illness. The
Mm,
person who dies takes with the person themselves. Even when I do all these things, I still cannot find. There are multiple reasons,
right.
and it can be relationships, it can be job, it can be stresses of the life. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a multi-factor.
So basically, it's stress, right? It always everything stems from stress. Some kind of depression, some kind of an anxiety over some issue.
Stress, depression, all
Yeah,
together.
amplifies in your head. Um, it amplifies because obviously you're not talking about it, you're not expressing it, so it's getting pent up. So all of those, scary pent up thoughts, they're not going anywhere, and you're collecting them, and maybe just the noise in the head just starts building up so much that they can't even take it anymore.
And
Um,
also, don't forget there's a stigma attached. So even if the person wants, my son did write in the letter, there's so much stigma attached that I didn't know what to do. That there's a time, and especially when the person is very brilliant, they
yeah.
don't want anybody to know that they have this illness.
Oh,
So
that's
secrecy and the stigma both together.
it's a good point that
My
you.
experience.
Right, that is so important. Thank you for shedding light on those two, things that we probably overlook. It is definitely a very secretive illness. That is for sure. Nobody wants to address that. Nobody wants to say, "Oh, I'm suicidal." They'll say, "Okay, I'm a little depressed," but they won't say, "I have suicidal thoughts." That's like, are you crazy? It's like, you don't get a very positive response from anyone. You won't get a positive response, but you don't get a very talking response. You don't get an expressive response. You probably get like a shock or like, what are you talking about? It's like, and that's what's so sad. Like if you have,
But very few people, even when you said they say they're depressed, very few people will say they're depressed.
yes, true, true. All kinds of mental illnesses. They're just not talked about, and that's the issue. That's the problem. I mean, obviously, suicide is finite. There's no coming back from that. But but the thought has to cross your mind, and that is what we're trying to prevent. Why should that thought come to your mind? There are solutions. Life is beautiful. It is everything changes. Nothing stays the same, right? This is what we need to tell people.
Only thing is, still I'll emphasize that if somebody is in a very depressed and anxiety mood, just listen to them. Listen and listen because we may aggravate, they may start thinking that what we are thinking, and in my case, I never knew it, and my son used to call me every day, and he was very funny. So last time when I met, he was not funny, and but I still couldn't think about suicide. So I
Right.
told my husband that any
Awesome.
jokes,
Yeah.
but you will never think, but some pattern behavior change.
Right. So those signs, you have to pick up on the signs, right?
Then they are
That
maybe just
someone is doing
like
today.
sleeping a lot,
Mm-hmm.
irritated,
Mm-hmm.
irritated with small things,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they may eat too much or they may not eat at all.
Oh,
So they may eat, like sometimes for 2 days they're not just hungry because they're thinking of life and death.
right.
Mm.
So we have to look out for those signs. We have to see the change in pattern, the change in behavior. So you're saying with Neil, he was different. He was, lively, vivacious, smart, and then suddenly he was, starting to digress a little bit, started to change his behavior.
That's
Right.
right. The only thing is, I never knew the symptoms, but now I can see there were 3, 4 symptoms.
There
Like
were- So what did you exactly see? What were the symptoms?
the thing with symptoms, I saw that he was so excited. He was very giving child. He would say, "Bring food for like 7, 8 people. My friends will come and we'll eat together."
Yeah.
But then he just couldn't eat. Then I didn't know, and I just still didn't. I couldn't even think about suicide. Then
Right.
the second symptom was that when I met him, from last 2 months, he looked
Hmm.
very sad. He was not joking. He was not very happy.
Uh-huh.
And then he told me that he's sleeping a little late, and so at least 3 things I could see.
Hmm.
Now I could see that he was right in the middle,
Hmm.
thinking about life and death. And the strange part was he was so smart that even like 10 days before when he had his exam, he had 98 out of 100. So he could focus on his exam, but he couldn't focus on his life.
What grade was he in at the time? How
He
old?
was a second year medical student at UMass.
Okay.
He was very smart, and not only smart, very nice child. He
About 20 years old?
was 23 and a half.
Three and a half. Wow.
That is up to 25 is a really bad. But any age is bad, but
Yeah,
that's up to 25. In fact, is considered like a teenager age.
right, right.
So I would like every mother not to be scared, but keep your eyes
But
open.
Nita, I want to ask you, did this happen in his friends? Did it happen in any family member or neighbor that you heard about incidents that had happened before that could have incited such feelings in him? Do you know of any? Do you
In
remember?
fact, unfortunately, this was the first suicide in UMass, Massachusetts in 60 years.
Oh, wow.
There was no suicide. And in our friends, I don't know, nothing happened. I cannot,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm
maybe somewhere he read, I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
I
but
don't.
like you said, it's such a secretive thing, and what really happens just goes with the person that left us.
It,
But
it is secretive, but the thing is, if we are aware, like talking and seeing the symptoms, you can go to, American Foundation of Suicide Prevention and see the symptoms,
right.
you know. So
Do you think, Nina, it had to do also with the pressures of, just studying and just the pressure of staying at the top? Because you said he was smart and he was bright. Do you think we face that pressure, like, you know,
that's what, the thing is, he was smart to begin with. So, people would study for 4 weeks and study for 10 days and you'd get A's.
I
Uh,
know. But you know how medical students don't have it easy. I mean, I have a sister-in-law now, Rebecca. She's in New York, but my God, the stress, especially during the pandemic, working just overtime around the clock, and it's so much stress, so much pressure to.
I'm sure he had pressure, but things
Mhm.
came out easily with him. But I think he may, they say mostly the depression can be 2 weeks severe. So
Mhm.
wherever he went into like a tunnel where he couldn't get out. And it can be relationships too, it can be, so it's so hard to know.
Funny you say tunnel. I have used the tunnel as a metaphor throughout the film In Between Mountains.
Oh, I see, really.
So funny that you say that because I have it in so many different. That is the complete metaphor. That is exactly how I think this character was. He was in. He had this tunnel vision, and it's like when you just can't see anything
You
except,
can.
but you forget to see that there is light at the end of that tunnel, which unfortunately they don't see because they're so into that dark hole, and they have found a way out, unfortunately. But
Wrong.
it's that it's a big metaphor and how we need to come out of that tunnel vision. We need to see that something that is ongoing is never going to be permanent. It will change because light turns into day, day turns into light. It is a pattern of life. Everything changes. We must wait, keep our patience, keep our heads up high, keep talking to one another, be kind, and just be generous, be kind, be there.
The thing is this intervening at the right time. So the movie you are making is a great idea because right now with COVID, we don't know how many people are at home. They are,
Seriously.
they are not going out for business or meeting people. So it's a right time. And
Oh, yes. So the economic, social pressures have catapulted this whole illness to another level.
other,
Um, this is why it's so important to talk now about it more than ever. We are all facing this problem in this historic time that we are living in. And so many, we're fortunate, but there's so many unfortunate that are not able, forget about talking, they don't even have the means to an end anymore. And they're getting, unemployment is off the roof. Um, on top of that, they don't have they don't have anyone to talk to. They have no one to share their burden with. And that is just, I don't understand. If you have a family member around you, if you have some kind of close friends, you have someone. You do have someone. But that someone needs to put in time into you. I want to talk a little bit about the aftermath. How did you handle after Neil left you? What was life like for the
life
first?
was, for 6 months, it was just that, just getting up from the bed, going to work, and was very difficult. But I have a daughter, so I didn't want her to see me just the whole world has gone down. But I got up, I did my work. So at home, I had less energy. But I think then I started looking at the things that how I can help another mother so she can see the symptoms and save a child. So every time my feeling was to help some woman or her father to help their child who do not go in this tunnel of, and
That's
so then it was very hard even in my
all of that negativity and the stress to something positive.
one thing which helped us, we didn't go to physicians much, but we went to this grief sessions where we
Uh-huh.
started talking about it. And then
Yeah,
I knew the stories about all the 10 people.
yeah.
Then this is where I told them, let's start the walk.
Similar boat there, right? So everybody had similar
And, but
experiences.
then I kept on telling them that even if I know your story, my story, but what are we making a difference?
Yeah,
And then I said, let's start a walk. And then there was a pin drop silence in the whole room. They said that when we do suicide awareness week, nobody comes. Who will walk with you?
yeah.
And
Hmm.
that was true. And to get a place was very hard. But there were other 3 4 women who helped me, and it was very tough. And within 2 years, he died in November 1998, and our first walk was in June of 2001,
Hmm.
which was called End of Secrecy.
Oh,
Mine was a secretive.
right.
And now it's known as a community walk with the help of National. It's known Out of the Darkness Walk.
Mhm. Um, we haven't talked about how he passed. What did he do?
What did you do? Okay, what happened was, you know, I don't know too many details, but he was a dog physician,
Uh-huh.
so he had access to the knives.
Oh,
So he cut his wrist.
oh,
And when his friends called me, they said, we, we, you know, we cannot find Neil. His door is locked.
no.
I never thought suicide in my, it just didn't hit me even for 1 second
Yes.
because he kept on telling me he has cold and flu. So
Mhm.
when you hear that, I thought that he had cold and flu and he got dehydrated and is in his room. I said, please break the door.
Yeah.
And then they broke the door and they saw him. And then the police called, no, his friend called me that please come to, UMass
Yeah.
in Boston. And so when we went there, I still could not think about suicide. I thought he died with the cold and virus. When they said suicide, then we three fell just down, my daughter and my husband and me, and because all our hopes were on
Hmm.
my son Neil and Mira. And so life changed, like that's what I was saying, that one moment I was the best, we were the best parents.
Yeah.
And then people started not with love of Neil that what happened wrong, did we do? Then I started analyze myself, what did I do wrong?
Mhm.
But then I thought, no, we were good parents, but he had an illness and we didn't intervene at the right time. That is a reality.
I'm so sorry to make you relive. It's not easy, I'm
And
sure. Even after all these years, I'm sure it's not easy to talk about it.
he was so handsome. Wherever he went, all the friends would come and talk to him, and it was very funny, very funny. So I miss him a lot.
Oh, my heart goes out to you, Nina.
And the thing is with suicide, the sad part is you cannot blame anybody. With a murder or with a car accident, you can find that somebody did something wrong.
Yeah,
But with suicide, you have to live with it.
right.
And some people, that's why they don't tell anybody. They keep the child kept a secret, or sometimes some people have lost their parents also. They
Yeah,
keep a secret for whole life.
right.
So our
And
goal was to share.
that reason just keeps bothering you over and over again in your head, right? Probably is going over it. Like, what had happened? What could I have done? Why didn't I pick up the signs? Why didn't I do this? But what's the real reason? You would never know.
No, the thing is, I had a lot of whys, but then after reading a lot, talking to people,
Mhm.
and I think strength of God or something,
Sure.
have to you have to start living.
Right. Right.
Otherwise, you'll die before you die. So what I did was me and my husband said we have to live,
Yeah.
and by living, we can help people. And
Yes.
if I just had taken closed my door and sat, then people will come to you 5, 6 months, 1 year, but people have their lives. So we move, we have good times too, but Neil is always behind us, behind our
Sure.
thoughts.
That is very courageous. What you and your husband have done is a very, very courageous act. And now with this block and the message that you're spreading to the world, that it's good to come out, it's good to talk about it, it's good to express yourself.
One thing I just want to add, like once we lost Neil, we had to think that we have another child to look at. So
Yeah.
my daughter was very close to her brother, and loss of a sibling is very bad too. And she lied down and she says, "I cannot do anything." She
I can,
was for
yeah.
medicine. I said to her,
What is the age difference between them? She's
"Only 2 years, 2 years."
oh, so they
And
were they were
my
very
daughter was always like he was role model to her, to
oh,
him, to her.
oh no.
Then she said that I cannot do anything. Then I told her, I said, just see, in 10 days, I went back to work as a branch manager and I did my work. If
Wow, 10
all
days.
sit, then nothing will happen. So then she went to her medical school, but same school where Neil was, and they have a big bench in his name. And it was hard for Mira. Then people will sit in that bench, and that belonged to her brother's memory.
Wow, that's
We
such
are
a
doing scholarship for him in medical school, whatever we can afford.
oh, that's amazing. You keep giving. You're just such a giving person, and your family just keeps giving back. That is so amazing. That is very, very commendable. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for doing what you're doing, Nina. Hang in there. We're all with you. And today, if you could give someone a message today, a mother, a parent, what would you say?
The only thing I will tell them, just like you said, be kind, listen to your child.
Yes.
These are COVID times or any time,
Yeah.
and be aware and just be with the person whom you think needs help, and
Yes.
you will help.
Thank you. Thank you, Nina. Thank you for sharing your heartfelt story, your experience with suicide. I hope it helps others to come out to talk more. And
Okay.
that's our aim. That's the only thing we can hope for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nina. Please take care of yourself and your family. Just
Thank you so much.
you are not alone. You please stay in touch and talk to people. You keep doing what you're doing. I don't have to tell you. You're already doing great.
One thing I can just add is that once you lose a child with suicide, money is not so important.
No, never, never. It's nothing.
Don't
Material,
have whatever we have, we try to share in different causes. It's not only suicide, on hunger and education.
right.
So God gives you strength in different ways.
That is touching. I can't imagine to be in your shoes, and I'm so sorry that you had to bear this as a parent. I'm really, really, really sorry, Nina.
Thank you so
Our
much.
prayers are with you. Hang in there. We all love you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for talking to us.